Hello, welcome back. Time now for business news, and for that, I'm joined on set by Will Edwards. Hello there, Will.
Hi, Louise.
Will, you've got all the very latest on this fiscal cliff deal.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take a look at what was actually in this deal which helped the US avoid going over the fiscal cliff. Now, crucially, of course, massive tax rises have been avoided for the vast majority of Americans, but there will be some higher taxes in view, including, in particular, individuals earning over $400,000 per year. And much more broadly, payroll taxes, they will be going up for pretty much everyone who works, back up to 6.2% from 4.2%. Now, that actually will make quite a big difference across the board, and it's what's known as a regressive tax. So it affects everyone equally in a way, rather than being scaled towards those who earn much more. So Barack Obama has backed down somewhat on this. Of course, he originally wanted to see people earning $250,000 a year see higher taxes. He's had to step back on that, and that's been moved higher by the Republicans.
OK, but he still has some tough negotiations ahead, though, Will.
He certainly does. Now, this issue that was resolved today, that dealt only with tax levels. Also, of course, you'll remember part of the fiscal cliff, a time bomb that was due to go off on midnight at December the 31st, was also automatic spending cuts. Now, that is being kicked down the road. They're going to have a 2-month extension to that deadline. And, of course, there's the issue of the debt ceiling, which will be raising its ugly head again, as Catherine Viette explains.
Back from the brink, U.S. politicians pulled together to enact legislation to prevent the economy from going over the so-called fiscal cliff. It's been a tense few days in Washington as Republicans and Democrats squabbled over taxes and budget cuts. In the end, the House of Representatives voted to approve a deal struck by the Senate. The bill will see tax rates increase on individuals making $400,000 or more, as well as a rise in capital gains tax to 20%. It includes a 1-year extension for unemployment benefits and a 5-year extension for tax credits that help poorer and middle-class families. But the measure did little to rein in the huge annual budget deficits that have helped push the U.S. debt to $16.4 trillion.
We've taken care of the revenue side of this debate. And now it's time to get serious about reducing Washington's out-of-control spending.
Automatic spending cuts have been delayed for 2 months to allow a wider agreement, setting up another budget showdown when the new Congress debates the debt ceiling and the need to raise the federal borrowing limit. Many House Republicans say they will push hard for cuts to government entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare.
Entitlement reform is the only way that we are going to successfully get our arms around this massive $16.25 trillion national debt that is there.
The president has already warned he will not bargain with Congress over raising the debt ceiling.
OK, Will, so how have the markets been reacting to all of this?
As you might expect, pretty well, actually, although the markets in Asia were already opening up for the start of 2013 when this agreement was reached. You can see there the Kospi and the Hang Seng extending gains after that announcement. The Nikkei in Tokyo and the Shanghai Composite both closed for the holidays. We'll see later how US markets react.
All right, Will. Well, here in Paris, robbers took advantage of New Year's Eve celebrations to stage an ambitious heist on the Apple Store, I believe.
Yeah, this was quite a large-scale heist, clearly a professional operation, and it happened at around 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve. You can see here the Apple Store just next to the Paris Opera, and, 4 men, masked and armed, forced their way into the store and then escaped afterwards in a van. Of course, just as people were gathering on the Champs-Élysées to celebrate New Year's Eve, and the police clearly focusing on that, clearly more than this, because there are reports, unconfirmed I should say, that more than €1 million worth of goods have been stolen.
Ouch, that's an expensive New Year's Eve for Apple, huh? OK, well, speaking of New Year's Eve, sending a text message to loved ones is, of course, a tradition, but it looks like it could be on the wane, though.
Yes, here in France, of course, and as elsewhere, the busiest moment of the year for mobile operators is the 31st of December at midnight. And, it isn't changing the fact that people are still going to send lots of messages to each other, but it looks like text messages might be slightly losing their popularity. Over 1 billion text messages are still thought to have been sent in France over this New Year's Eve, but the record of 1.13 billion, that's not expected to be surpassed, actually, and operators say they'd expected more texts this year than actually happened. It's thought that this is because of services like Facebook and, of course, free things like email being more available now on smartphones than ever before, and this could have quite a big effect on mobile operators' business model, because text messages, they make quite a good profit on those if you haven't got a particular bundled bargain with them, whereas things like email, they tend to be free.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Will. Well, next, we often hear about disputes over gas prices between Eastern European countries and Gazprom at this time of the year. But in 2013, that's changed. The Russian company has been pressured into lowering its prices by a combination of factors, including an EU investigation into the legality of its contracts. Frans van Kert's Gulliver Cragg has sent this report from Poland.
Polish winters are cold. So for the million or so Polish families who have gas-powered heating, a 10% price cut is significant. Yet according to Wojciech Derwinski, who aside from heating his own home with gas advises others on how to make savings, the reaction has been lukewarm.
At least this year they won't be putting the prices up, and in fact they'll be going down a bit. That's always nice, but I think everyone wishes the cuts were rather bigger.
Poland's Treasury Ministry nevertheless hopes its Christmas present to the people will prove a political hit.
10%, this is a drop of price for 20 million people, Polish citizens. This is very remarkable, I would say.
The price cut is thanks to a deal with Gazprom. The Russian monopolist has reduced the price Poland pays for its gas from around $575 per 1,000 cubic meters to around 450, according to the minister. Other EU countries have also won cuts. Gazprom's oil-indexed prices had simply risen way higher than market rates. Warsaw threatened legal action, backed by an antitrust inquiry into the Russians from the European Commission. Now, with prices comparable to those paid by Western European firms, Poland's gas company PGNiG is in a position to trade on the new gas exchange launched at the Warsaw stock market last month. It also has money available to push for development of Poland's own shale gas resources.
We have a few years to really verify the amount of shale gas, the amount of gas that we can develop and produce in Poland. If we are capable of finding domestic sources for gas, then we shall see.
Gazprom can no longer take the Central European market for granted.
OK, well, let's look at the airline industry now, and it looks like India's Kingfisher Airlines could be grounded for goodwill.
Yeah, this is an airline that has actually had its fleet grounded since October due to disputes with staff over unpaid wages. The company owes millions of dollars, not just to its staff, but also to airports, banks and fuel suppliers. And it's been looking for alternative foreign investment for several months now. Now India's aviation regulator says its license won't be renewed, and that's because it's not clear where new money will come from. The company does say it's in talks with Etihad Airways from Abu Dhabi, and it's confident it will get its license back just as soon as its financial problems are sorted out. But that does look like quite a long shot at the moment.
All right, we'll have to wait and see. Just finally, Will, in another New Year's change, Russians now have to officially consider beer as alcoholic, as we do.
Yes, if you can believe this. Previously, anything under 10% alcohol in Russia was not considered an alcoholic drink in the eyes of the law. It's just a snack, really. You know, it was in fact classed as foodstuffs. So drinking, of course, a major problem in Russia, and spirits really seen as the sort of hard alcohol. And there's even a saying that if you don't have a beer with a vodka, then it's like throwing money into the wind. You may as well not bother. It's not even drinking. But that is going to change. That has now changed at January the 1st. It is an alcoholic drink officially. That means it can't be sold on street outlets, and sales between 11 p.m. and 8 a.m. will be banned now. And also television advertising will be outlawed.
OK, thank you very much, Will. That was Will Edwards there with our business news. Stay tuned. Karen Creed coming up.